I'm going to discuss this morning some recent statements made by the Russian maniac Dmitry Medvedev. Some may say that I just butchered the pronunciation, but I nailed it in Southern English. And I may be wrong about Dmitry being a maniac. He just may be permanently brain impaired from liberal consumption of Russia's favorite beverage. Dmitry is a former Russian president and prime minister and is among Putin's coterie of kleptocrats. He routinely threatens the world with nuclear annihilation unless the Western democracies stand down and allow Russia to conquer Ukraine and other democracies thereafter. Russia will turn Earth into the second red planet in the solar system unless everyone allows Russia to take whatever it wants. Within the past week, he claimed that nuclear war was a possibility if Ukraine uses a Western missile to attack a missile site in Russia. Russia has annexed about 1/5 of the internationally recognized Ukrainian territory after free elections, which includes Crimea, and it is not clear whether Russia will kill everyone on the planet, maybe even the cockroaches, if a UK or US missile strikes an air defense facility in Crimea. Dmitry has just confirmed this week that Russia is indeed willingly and intentionally engaged in genocide in Ukraine, as defined in Article 2 of the UN Convention of the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. That was already obvious. And Russia will keep killing Ukrainians, blowing up their homes and hospitals, kidnapping their children, and turning their towns and cities into rubble, until Ukraine becomes part of Russia, abandons all hope of having freedoms, and recognizes Putin as their dictator for life. It may be Dmitry when Putin is no longer with us, having received his just rewards for being who he obviously is. All of those are what Dmitry has stated to be Russian policy in his most recent statement that he titled, quote, "Why Ukraine is Dangerous for its Inhabitants," end quote. This is a quote from that statement. Quote, "The existence of an independent state on historical Russian territories will now be a constant reason to resume hostilities. It's too late. Whoever is at the helm of the cancerous new formation called Ukraine, it will not add legitimacy to its rule or legal standing to the country itself." Dmitry needs to add some information to that statement. The most important omissions, which are, of course, irrelevant to him and Putin and do not even need to be mentioned, is how many young Russians will die in Ukraine or be permanently maimed physically and or mentally trying to achieve Russia's imperialistic objectives in Ukraine. Nor does it matter how much damage is done to the Russians' economy or standing in the world. Dmitry and Putin would not change Russia's objective in Ukraine even if 1 million Russians, young Russians, start pushing up daisies in Ukrainian soil, or even if Russia had to take on NATO, which Dmitry made clear in his statement. It does not matter. Russia will achieve its objectives in Ukraine, which means the absorption of Ukraine into the Russian Federation.